The moment my vision returned, the very first thing I wanted to do was find my wife, Victoria, and tell her the unbelievable news. But as I reached the private lounge, I froze, stopped dead by the conversation drifting out from inside. Tori, her friend, was speaking. Ethan's been blind for 2 years just so you could be with your old flame. You had Julia pretend to be you and live with him this whole time. Aren't you worried she and your husband might turn the charade into the real thing? What's there to be afraid of? Victoria took a sip of wine, laughter spilling out, careless and unrestrained. Your dear brother-in-law is practically asexual. As long as Julia doesn't make a move, he'll never think that way about her. Besides, Julia's got insane self-control. A literal 6'2" model with an 8-pack once threw himself at her, and she didn't even blink. You really think she's going to seduce my husband? The group erupted into teasing laughter. I don't know who to pity more, Ethan or Julia. 2 absolute smoke shows sleeping in the same bed for 2 years, just talking every night. What a waste of time. Their laughter echoed through the hall. My eyes drifted toward the woman sitting alone at the center of the room, calmly nursing a drink. Julia Reed, cool, captivating, with that untouchable air of indifference. And yeah, leaving a woman like that untouched did seem like a waste. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. In the 2 years I'd been blind, Victoria had grown colder, quieter, keeping a strange, unnerving distance. But my blindness had crushed my confidence. Even when my gut screamed that something was wrong, I was too ashamed to say it aloud. As I was caught in thought, the front door of our apartment clicked open. Julia's voice, pitched low, deliberately came from behind me. Ethan, I'm home. Julia and Victoria already had naturally similar voices, with Julia consciously imitating her. It's no wonder I hadn't realized for 2 years. I lifted my head, my still and focused gaze settling on the stunning figure before me, the renowned ice queen of New York's elite social scene. A woman who bowed to no one's rules. But why would she agree to this ridiculous arrangement with Victoria, pretending to be my wife for 2 years? Well, if they loved acting so much, I could act too. I pretended I still couldn't see, fumbling toward her until my arms wrapped around her waist. Honey, you're finally home. I pulled her close, resting my head gently on her shoulder. Victoria and I had been married for years, but she'd always resisted any real intimacy. I'd long ago resigned myself to a life of quiet restraint. Julia had also kept a careful distance these last 2 years, even though we shared a bed. This was the first time we'd been this close. She went stiff in my arms, clearly startled. Ethan, what's gotten into you today? I forced a few tears, letting my voice thicken with fake vulnerability. Victoria, ever since I went blind, you haven't let me touch you. Are you disgusted by me now? Julia's expression softened. Her voice lowered, gentle now. No, of course not. You're overthinking it. That accident 2 years ago, it didn't just take your sight, it hurt your body too. I was afraid you couldn't handle it. My body's fine now. I can handle it, I said, fumbling to unbutton my shirt and pull it off. Honey, it's been 2 years. You must have been struggling too. Her eyes flicked away, voice husky. Yeah, it's been okay. I took her hand. So how about we? Her phone rang. She exhaled in relief. I should get this. She stepped out onto the balcony, answering. From the window, I heard Victoria's lazy voice through the speaker. Julia, it's Mom's birthday tomorrow. I need you to swap with me for the day. A pause. Fine. It's been months since we switched. You need to catch me up on everything with Ethan so I don't blow my cover. Laughter from Victoria's friends echoed in the background. Tori, you're juggling the one that got away and your husband. Which is more important? Victoria's voice dripped arrogance. Please? How can Ethan even compare to Ryan? Ethan chased me for years. I couldn't shake him off. I'm the one who finally won Ryan over. If it weren't for his grandmother loving Ethan, I'd never have married him. Her words were a punch to the gut. She was right. I chased her for a decade, 16 to 26, relentlessly. I finally married her, only to realize the woman in my bed was her best friend. For 2 years, my life had been a cruel joke. That night, I insisted on holding Julia as we slept. Her body stayed tense, but now and then she instinctively curled closer into my arms. When I woke the next morning, Julia was gone. In her place stood Victoria, perfectly dressed, smiling. You're awake. Get up and ready, we're going to the matriarch's birthday gala. I stretched lazily, voice teasing. Honey, you spent all night running your hands over my abs while you slept. Couldn't get enough of me. Her smile froze, eyes narrowing. On the drive to the Vance estate in Connecticut, she stayed silent, her mood stormy. But once inside the grand hall, she plastered on a loving smile, linking her arm with mine. Grandma, happiest of birthdays to many more. Mrs. Vance was delighted to see me, pulling me aside for a long chat. Scanning the party, I spotted Julia, the woman I'd held the night before, and also Victoria's old flame, Ryan Sinclair. His eyes on me were full of disdain. I ignored him completely. Later, as I stepped out of the restroom, Ryan approached. As he passed, he dumped a full glass of red wine over my head. Oh whoops. My hand slipped. I calmly grabbed the janitor's mop, lifted it, and smacked him square in the face. Ethan Cole, what the hell? I feigned surprise. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I'm blind, you know. Just trying to use this mop as a cane. Did I hit you? Soaked with dirty mop water, Ryan raised a hand to slap me, so I swung the mop at his face again. Stop! Two voices rang out together, Victoria's and Julia's. They rushed over, followed by staff. Ryan stumbled into Victoria's arms, whining, "Tori, your husband just hit me with a mop. Do something." "Ethan, apologize," Victoria said coldly. I stumbled toward Julia instead, collapsing into her arms. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I can't. See, I didn't mean to. Please don't be mad at me." Julia patted my back, her voice low. "I'm not mad. Don't blame yourself." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Victoria's face darken like a storm cloud. A flicker of satisfaction warmed me. I pressed my face against Julia's chest. "Honey, I'm soaked. It's uncomfortable. Can you help me take a bath? Maybe give my back a little rub?" Her hand froze briefly. "I guess I could, Charles." Victoria's sharp voice sliced in. "Take Mr. Cole to get changed and bathed." Immediately after changing, I overheard them in the hallway. Victoria's tone was dark. "Julia, I thought you weren't into men. Why are you reacting to Ethan?" Julia lit a cigarette, inhaled and exhaled slowly before replying, "I'm a person, Victoria, not a saint. You put a handsome, well-built man in my bed who practically radiates pheromones. How am I supposed to? I'm not supposed to react." Julia's voice was sharp, defiant. Victoria's expression soured instantly, like she couldn't believe what she just heard, but Ethan's always been so reserved. How could he? "Julia, you have to promise me no matter how tempted you are, you will not touch Ethan. No matter how much you to play house, he is still my husband. Remember, he's your husband now." Julia blew out a lazy smoke ring, her expression mocking. "For 2 years you've been off in La La Land with your dream guy. Have you cared about your actual husband for a single day?" Victoria stayed silent. Julia scoffed. "If you love Ryan Sinclair so much, just divorce Ethan already." "I can't." Victoria's reaction was quick, almost defensive. "Ethan and I grew up together. I still have feelings for him, but I chased Ryan for so long, and he finally accepted me. I don't want to let him go either." "Huh?" Julia stubbed out her cigarette, sneering with open contempt. "Pathetic." I didn't listen any further. I turned and walked away. "Victoria, you don't want to give up the one that got away, but you also don't want to let go of your husband. In what world do you get to have it all?" After the party, Victoria drove me home. When we pulled up, Julia was waiting at the door. Without a backward glance, Victoria handed me off to her and drove away. Once inside, I headed straight to the bathroom. A few minutes later, I called out, "Honey, I slipped and hurt my shoulder. Can you come in and put some ointment on it?" Soon, the door clicked open. Julia stepped in with a tube of cream. I had a towel loosely wrapped around my waist, my hair still damp, water dripping down my skin. Julia's eyes lingered on me for a second before she quickly looked away. Squeezing cream onto her fingers, I pretended to slip again, stumbling with a thud right into her arms. The towel slid to the floor, two hot bodies pressed together. The tips of Julia's ears burned bright red. She tried to push me away. Flustered, "Ethan, you..." I silenced her with a kiss. Julia froze at first, then stopped resisting. Her hand slid to the back of my head, returning the kiss with fiery passion. When we finally came up for air, my fingers moved to the buttons of her blouse. I whispered, "Honey, we've been married this long. It's about time we had a baby." Her face flushed even redder. Her voice cracked, "Okay, whatever you want." Then she scooped me into her arms and carried me to the bedroom. Just then, my phone rang. Julia hung it up immediately. "Aren't you going to get that?" The rest of my words were swallowed by her kiss. From afternoon until late into the night, We were like starving wolves tasting a real meal for the first time, relentless, devouring each other. Sometime past midnight, I heard her on the phone, voice hushed. I know. I won't seduce him. You don't trust me? Fine, then don't. Make what promise? I don't believe in that superstitious crap. After hanging up, she leaned close to my ear and whispered, Ethan, why do you only love her? I wanted to tell her I wouldn't anymore, but I was too tired. I drifted into a deep sleep. After that first time, Julia became insatiable. It was like she'd awakened some ravenous hunger inside herself. She wanted me every day for 2 whole months. Everything else in her life was neglected, her focus entirely on me. As for Victoria, I'd heard she'd gone overseas with Ryan. I hadn't seen her in 2 months. One day, Julia wasn't feeling well, so I went with her to the hospital, unexpectedly. Right at the entrance, we ran into Victoria and Ryan, freshly back in the country. What a coincidence, Ryan said, greeting Julia first with that saccharine, passive-aggressive tone. My darling's had a terrible appetite lately, always nauseous. I wonder if we partied a little too hard abroad, and now she's pregnant. What are you to here for? Julia's tone went cold. I'm not feeling well. Ethan's here with me for a checkup. Victoria said, nothing afraid to blow her cover, but her eyes were locked on the red marks along Julia's neck. Her face darkened dangerously. I pretended I saw nothing and walked past them calmly. As I passed Ryan, he suddenly let out a yelp and stumbled dramatically right into a decorative fountain. Victoria's expression changed instantly. She jumped in after him, pulling him out, drenched. Tori, it was your husband, Ryan whined. He pushed me. I didn't do anything to him. Why does he keep coming after me? Victoria's face was grim. Ethan Cole apologized to Ryan. I found it laughable how she always convicted me without asking what happened. Why should I apologize for something I didn't do? Her eyes went cold, voice like ice. If it wasn't you, then who was it? He was right beside you. Did he just jump in himself? You lost your sight. Did you lose your heart too? For all these years, no matter what I gave her, Ryan had always been #1 in her heart. I will not apologize. That's not up to you. She kicked my knee hard, forcing me down with a thud. She grabbed my head, trying to push me into a bow before Ryan let him go. Julia rushed forward, pulling Victoria's hands off me. Her eyes blazed with a quiet fury. Don't touch him. Victoria's teeth clenched, her face a mask of rage. In the middle of the struggle, a wave of dizziness hit me. My strength drained, and I started to fall backward. 2 gasps rang out in unison. Ethan. Julia caught me first, but Victoria quickly yanked me into her arms. Ethan, what's wrong? Ethan, wake up. I'm sorry, Ethan, I shouldn't have been so harsh. Please, wake up. Together, they rushed me to the outside. Victoria's voice was cold. Julia, explain to me what those marks all over your neck are. Julia sneered. Mosquito bites. Is that your business too? Moments later, the doors swung open. A doctor stepped out, pulling down his mask. It's nothing serious. Low blood sugar. He'll wake up soon. Just then, a nurse called from the desk. Miss Julia Reed, 6 weeks pregnant. Please come get your test results. Pregnant. Victoria stared, stunned, like she'd been struck by lightning. Julia froze for only a moment, then joy flickered across her face. Victoria's voice trembled. The baby. Is it Ethan's? Julia's answer was quick, unapologetic. Yes, you bastard. Victoria's eyes went bloodshot. She slapped Julia hard. You said you wouldn't seduce him. You said you had no interest in men. You lied to me. Julia wiped the blood from her lip and laughed coldly. Victoria, you know my personality. I'm not some kind-hearted do-gooder. If I wasn't interested in Ethan, why would I have agreed to your ridiculous plan for so long? I treated you like my best friend, and you went after my husband. You're disgusting. Julia's voice was sharp with scorn. Victoria, the moment you pushed Ethan into my arms, you should have known this day would come. Blinded by rage, Victoria swung again, but Julia caught her wrist and slapped her back hard. I've wanted to do that for a long time. You have a great husband, but you'd rather go for a piece of trash. You're pathetic. Thanks for giving Ethan to me. I'll save you a seat at the baby shower. When I woke, 2 women stood by my bed, faces carrying very different emotions. Ethan, you're awake? Victoria rushed forward, grabbing my hand, voice urgent. How are you feeling? Does anything hurt? I gently pulled my hand back, my voice cold. I'm fine. Victoria hesitated, then spoke softly. Ethan, the doctor said You fainted from low blood sugar. It's my fault for not taking good care of you. When you get home, I promise I'll take care of you. Julia's cool voice cut in from the side. Decided to play the good wife now? Where were you before? I sat up. I frowned, feigning confusion. You two sound exactly the same. So which one of you is my wife? I am. They both said at the same time. I threw off the covers, got up, and pretending to follow the sound of her voice, walked straight into Julia's arms. Honey, I asked softly, did you get your test results? What's been making you feel so sick lately? Ethan, I'm pregnant, Julia said, her voice tinged with shyness. I froze. Across the room, Victoria looked like she was about to explode. Ethan, I'm right here. I'm your wife. She's an imposter. Her voice was harsh and grating. I frowned in disgust. Ma'am, I may be blind, but I'm not deaf. You think I don't know the voice of the woman I live with every day? The woman I'm holding right now is my wife. Julia nodded. That's right. Don't listen to her. Victoria's chest heaved with rage. She raised her hand, ready to strike again. Julia Reed, you dare keep up this act? I'll kill you. But before her hand could connect, Julia's legs shot out in a swift kick, sending Victoria sprawling to the floor. Ma'am, I said coldly, please leave now. Don't disturb me and my wife. Victoria still tried to argue, but Julia simply called 2 security guards, who dragged her out. Once the room fell silent, I gently placed my hand on Julia's stomach. A storm of emotions churned inside me. In there, a tiny heart was beating. I didn't know if keeping this child was the right choice. Julia's voice cut through my thoughts. Ethan, I know you can see. I froze, stunned. When did you figure it out? Julia sat down on the edge of my bed, pausing before speaking. From the day you suddenly started being proactive with me. Ethan, we've lived together for 2 years. No matter how well you acted, I could still tell from the little things. Then why keep playing along? I asked. She was silent for a long time before letting out a self-deprecating laugh. I treated it like a dream, and as long as the dream didn't end, I was willing to keep it going. I wanted to ask more, but she changed the subject. This baby, what are you planning to do? At first, I was taken aback. My original plan had been revenge, using this child to drive a wedge between Victoria and the people around her, to make her regret everything. But the truth was, the child was innocent. A life was growing inside Julia, his little heart already beating strong. I couldn't take that away. After a moment, I met her gaze. I want to keep this child. And don't worry, I'm going to divorce Victoria. Julia sighed in relief. Okay, thank you, Ethan. The next day, she was discharged, and we went home together. But as soon as we opened the door, we found Victoria sitting on the sofa, her face dark, cigarette butts scattered across the floor. Seeing us, she sneered at Julia. Julia, this is my house. The game is over. Leave. Julia didn't respond. She just took my hand and asked softly, Ethan, are you coming with me? Yes, I said without hesitation. I began packing my things quickly, but Victoria stepped in front of us. Ethan, you can't go. You can't see she's tricking you. I'm your wife, Victoria Vance. She's Julia Reed. Victoria, I interrupted, calm and sharp. I can see. She blinked, stunned. What? What did you say? I looked her straight in the eye. I said, I can see. My eyes have been fine for a while now. I know all about you having Julia impersonate you for 2 years. And I know all about you and Ryan Sinclair. Her face turned deathly pale. I let out a bitter laugh. Isn't my leaving a good thing? Now you won't have to hide anymore. You can just bring Ryan home. After all, wasn't your sudden loss of appetite because you partied too hard overseas and got pregnant? No, Victoria panicked, grabbing my hand. I'm not pregnant. I just ate something bad and had an upset stomach. Ethan, you're my husband. How could I ever get pregnant with someone else's child? I pulled my hand away. I don't want to hear it. Without another glance at her, I walked out with Julia. We moved into my old apartment. Julia cut back on most of her commitments, focusing on her pregnancy, while I even joined a parenting boot camp to learn how to take care of a baby. Life started to feel calm, peaceful, until one afternoon, while I was running an errand, a group of burly men stormed into our home. Without a word, they knocked Julia unconscious and shoved her into a car. When she woke up, she was tied to an operating table under the harsh glare of a surgical light. Victoria stood in front of her, face like ice. Victoria, what are you? doing?" Julia's voice trembled. "The bastard in your belly cannot be born," Victoria said coldly. "Let me go." Julia screamed. "You can't do this. This is my child. You have no right to decide its fate." "But the child is my husband's," Victoria hissed. "Julia, I will not allow you to give birth to this bastard. If it's born, it will bring shame to both the Vance and Cole families. Don't worry, a D&C is quick. Soon your little mistake will be gone. You cheated first." Julia roared. "You wronged Ethan. What right do you have to interfere in our lives?" Victoria ignored her, her tone like frost. "You can scream all you want, but that child will die today." Two men in white coats approached with a syringe. Julia thrashed wildly, screaming, "Victoria, stop. This is Ethan's child. Don't make him hate you." "I don't care if he hates me," she snapped. "This bastard cannot live." The needle pricked Julia's skin, a sharp sting spreading through her. Meanwhile, I had just returned home to find Julia gone. Checking the security footage, I saw Victoria's men taking her. Rage surged through me. I gathered my men and stormed the hospital. Just as the cold instrument was about to be inserted into Julia, I kicked the operating room door open. "Victoria, you touch her again, and I swear to God," my men charged in, overpowering her people in moments. The doctors were shoved aside. Victoria's men left battered on the floor. I untied Julia and pulled her into my arms, my voice shaking. "Julia, are you okay?" "I'm okay," she whispered, still trembling. I picked her up and carried her toward the door, but Victoria grabbed my shirt. "Ethan, don't go." I turned, my face expressionless. "Victoria, let's get a divorce." "Why?" Her eyes were red, desperate. "I was wrong, okay? I'll break it off with Ryan. Come back to me, please. We can start over. You used to love me so much." "Yes, I did. We were childhood sweethearts. I'd loved her since I first understood what love was. I'd chased her for over a decade, given her everything, believing someday she'd love me back. But now, I realized my devotion had been a complete joke. "I don't love you anymore," I said coldly, "and I never will again. Just consider the last 10 years of my life a waste." After leaving the hospital, I filed for divorce. Word eventually reached Mrs. Vance, and she summoned us to the family estate. In the grand, lavish hall, her face was stern. "Ethan, I hear your sight has returned. This should be a joyous occasion. Why are you divorcing Victoria?" I hesitated briefly, then told her the truth. "Grandma, I got another woman pregnant." Her brow furrowed, her eyes tightening. "Ethan, there's a limit." The matriarch looked like she was on the verge of throwing a tantrum. "How can you joke about your own reputation? You and Victoria were childhood sweethearts. You've always been so close. How could you possibly betray her?" "I'm not joking," I said evenly, placing a stack of photos in her hands. "But Grandma, Victoria was the one who cheated first. She spent 2 years fooling around with another man while I was blind. And to make her affair easier, she had her best friend impersonate her and live with me under the same roof for those 2 years. That's how this baby came to be." "What did you say?" Her hands trembled as she took the photos. One by one, she looked at the images, Victoria and Ryan Sinclair together in intimate situations. The longer she looked, the darker her face became. Her chest rose and fell in anger. "You wretched girl," she spat, lifting her cane and bringing it down hard on Victoria's back. "You animal, how could you do something so monstrous? Ethan has loved you for so many years. He's been completely devoted to you. And you, without the slightest conscience, go off and fool around with another man?" Victoria took the blows without a word, her eyes red as tears streamed down her face. "Grandma, I was wrong. I was out of my mind. I'll change. I promise I'll change. Please, can you talk to Ethan for me? I don't want to divorce him." "You still have the nerve to speak?" The matriarch slammed her palm against the table, her voice like thunder. "You shamelessly did this to him, and now you have the gall to ask for his forgiveness? If I were you, I'd be so ashamed I'd dig a hole and bury myself in it. Our family has no room for such a shameless creature. I ought to beat you to death right now and get justice for Ethan." She raised her cane again, striking Victoria's back over and over. Soon, blood began to seep through the back of Victoria's dress, but she didn't make a sound. That day, Victoria was beaten so badly she ended up with a fractured femur, and 2 broken ribs. Under the matriarch's relentless pressure, she had no choice but to sign the divorce papers. As I was leaving the estate, the matriarch stopped me, her expression heavy with shame. Ethan, this is a disgrace to our family. The Vance family has wronged you. I've watched you grow up since you were a boy, and I've always been fond of you. It's my granddaughter who has failed. From now on, even if you're no longer my grandson-in-law, you will always be my honorary grandson. That bond won't be broken. If you ever face hardship, you can always come back to this old woman for help. I knelt on the floor and bowed my head respectfully. Grandma, please take care of yourself. On the day we went to the courthouse to finalize the divorce, Victoria arrived in a wheelchair, pushed by a bodyguard. Ryan Sinclair was with her. 2 of her bodyguards had Ryan by the arms, forcing him to kneel in front of me and bow his head in apology. Tears streamed down his face as he sobbed. I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. I shouldn't have provoked you. I shouldn't have lied about you. Victoria watched him grovel, her face stripped of the affection she used to have for him. There was only cold indifference. Ethan, I've checked the security footage. At Grandma's birthday, he deliberately provoked you. And at the hospital, he fell into the fountain himself. He slandered you, and he deserves to apologize. And what about you? I asked, my voice heavy with irony. Are you blameless in all this, Victoria? She froze for a moment, then let out a bitter laugh. You're right. The person who should be apologizing the most is me. She suddenly raised her hand and slapped herself hard. Ethan, I was wrong. I shouldn't have deceived you. I shouldn't have betrayed your love. I deserve this. As she kept slapping herself, her voice cracked. I regret it. I thought Ryan was the one I couldn't let go of. But it wasn't until you left that I realized you were more important to me than he ever was. I'm such an idiot. I had to lose everything before I could regret it. I sighed. What's the point of regret now? Let's just part on good terms. I expected her to argue, but she didn't. She cooperated fully, and we completed the proceedings. Soon, we were holding our divorce decree. Outside the courthouse, her eyes were red and swollen. In a hoarse voice, she asked, Ethan, I've broken things off with Ryan. In the future, can we still be friends? I shook my head, about to answer, when a cool, mocking voice came from behind me. You could give up on that idea. Julia walked up slowly, her eyes full of disdain. Victoria, don't grovel like some pathetic puppy. It's cheap. If you have that much energy, go comfort your precious old flame. The father of my child isn't buying your act. Victoria glared at Julia, gritting her teeth. Julia Reed, you homewrecker. What are you so proud of? Julia slid her arm through mine, looking back at Victoria with a triumphant smile. By the way, your great love just had a little breakdown and jumped from the 3rd floor of the mall. He's paralyzed from the waist down now, lying in a hospital bed. Shouldn't you be running along to comfort him? After Victoria left, Julia let go of my arm and pulled a small booklet from her blazer pocket, a marriage license application. She looked straight into my eyes, serious. Ethan, since we're already here, why wait? Why not make an honest woman out of the mother of your child? I looked at the application in her hand, a small smile tugging at my lips, but didn't answer right away. Julia took a deep breath. Her expression turned solemn. Ethan, Victoria was right. I am a scheming, awful person. I've been after my best friend's husband. Did you know you loved Victoria for over a decade? Well, I've been secretly in love with you for just as long. The first time Victoria introduced you to our group of friends, she was 20. I fell for you instantly. But all these years, you only ever had eyes for her. You never even saw me. You chased her endlessly, and I was just heir to you. Every time I saw you fawning over her, I was so jealous I thought I'd go insane. But there was nothing I could do. Luckily for me, that idiot Victoria didn't know what she had. She treated a scumbag like a treasure, and gave me my chance. Ethan, will you marry me? I swear I will love and protect you for the rest of my life. I will never betray you. I swear I'll make you and our child the happiest people in the world. Her words left me stunned. I had no idea that the woman everyone saw as the cold, untouchable ice queen had been quietly in love with me all these years. But back then, I was so fixated on Victoria, I never noticed any other woman or her feelings for me. Julia was better than Victoria in every possible way. How could I have been so blind? Looking back, I really was a fool. I smiled. Well, what's done is done. Even if I wanted to refuse, the baby in your belly wouldn't let me. Besides, Julia, proposing is a man's job. I pulled out a ring and dropped to one knee. Julia Reed, will you marry me? Tears streamed down her cheeks as she nodded. I will. We walked right back into the courthouse and got our marriage license. That night, our wedding night, Julia took the lead. She unbuttoned my shirt, pressing a reverent kiss to my throat. Ethan, do you know I've wanted to do this to you for so long? You have no idea how hard it was to hold back for the last 2 years. I wrapped my arms around her neck, kissing her lips. From now on, you can do whatever you want. You'll never have to hold back again.